All right, folks, it's midweek now, and we're getting closer and closer to what's shaping up to be a massive few days for Celtic. Sunday's derby in the Premier Sports Cup quarterfinal is creeping up, and there's a whole lot brewing both on and off the pitch that's got the support buzzing or fuming, depending on which part you're looking at. Today, we're diving into the latest headlines, the financial side of things, the young sensation Sebastian Teneecti, who's already making waves, and the curious case of Simpson Pusy, who's gone from signing to vanishing act in record time. And we'll talk about the no VAR situation too, because that's a rare sight in modern football and could add a whole new layer to Sunday's drama. First off, let's talk money. Because whether we like it or not, what's happening behind the scenes at the boardroom level has become just as much a talking point as what's happening on the park. We're right in the window where Celtic traditionally release their annual financial report. It's usually mid to late September. Last year it dropped on the 16th, the year before that on the 18th, and the 2 years prior landed on the 20th. Today being the 17th, that means we could get that report literally any moment now. The timing has fans watching the official channels like hawks. Now, if the chatter is anything to go by, this year's figures are going to be eye-popping. There's talk, credible talk, that the club could be sitting on a cash reserve of upwards of £70 million. That's not a typo. £70 million. For a club like Celtic, that kind of money should be transformational. But instead of excitement, what we're hearing from the stands is frustration, even anger. Because if there's that much money in the bank, why does it feel like the squad's been undercooked for key fixtures? Why do we go into another European campaign looking threadbare in certain areas? What makes it sting even more is that this money hasn't just dropped out the sky. This is Celtic supporters' money. Season tickets, merchandise, away day travel, European nights. Every pound spent by the faithful has added to this pile. And it's becoming clearer and clearer that the fans are desperate for more than just a healthy balance sheet. They want ambition. They want a board that matches the scale of their support and the size of this club. And here's the thing. This report that's coming isn't just numbers. If it follows the pattern of the last couple years, it'll come bundled with a slick, almost magazine-style document. We're talking 80 pages of detailed breakdowns, official club messaging, and the usual statements from the chairman and chief executive. And look, while a lot of it is PR polish, there's also stuff in there worth picking through, if you've got the patience. But don't expect answers to the big questions. If anything, this report might add fuel to the fire that's already burning among the support. What it could do, though, is give weight to the growing fan movement that's been taking shape. We saw a bit of that at the weekend, with supporters making their voices heard in organized fashion. There's momentum building, and a well-documented financial report showing just how valuable this support is might be the spark needed for more unified action. There's already talk of a merchandise boycott floating around, which, let's be honest, wouldn't hurt the team on the park, but would absolutely send a message to the suits upstairs. And speaking of sparks, let's shift gears to someone who lit it up in a big way on Sunday, Sebastian Teneecti. Or as we now officially know how to pronounce it, Teneecti. A name that's been butchered across forums and phone-ins since the lad arrived. But we've got no excuses now. He met the press for the first time this week and, by all accounts, made a cracking impression. He spoke to the full range of media, mainstream, fan-led, and everything in between, and came across grounded, confident, and genuinely thrilled to be at Celtic. And let me tell you, that performance on the pitch? That wasn't beginner's luck. The boy has something. Proper personality, proper flair, and the kind of directness you don't see much these days. On a dodgy plastic pitch, against a packed defense, making his debut no less, he still managed to be the most exciting player on the park. That says something. He made it clear that his best position is out on the left, which we kind of guessed from watching him tear it up on that flank. But he also mentioned he's willing to play on the right if needed. Though, let's be honest, you don't take a player like that and shift him from where he's most dangerous. Every time he cut inside, he looked a threat. You could see defenders panicking whenever he picked up the ball. The thought of him with space to run into on the bigger Celtic Park pitch is mouth-watering. And with Red Star Belgrade coming up in Europe, he could be a nightmare for defenses who want to play a high line. What was even more refreshing was his attitude. No chat about using Celtic as a stepping stone, no dodging questions about his commitment. He said all the right things, but more importantly, he seemed to mean it. Maybe I'm getting carried away, but there was a real sense of humility there. He's connected with Benji Negrin already. Makes sense, both being from that Scandinavian mold. And he said his goal is simply to entertain the fans. That's music to our ears. Especially when you hear him say, "You'll never see me pass it back if I've got the chance to take someone on." In the modern game, where so many wingers are obsessed with possession and percentages, that's a breath of fresh air. And let's be real, we needed that. The mood's been flat recently. Injuries, frustrating results, lackluster transfer windows, it's all been weighing heavy. Teneecti came in and gave us a glimpse of something different. Something joyful. And yeah, it's one game. We don't want to crown him after 90 minutes. But we're supporters. Getting excited is part of the gig. And I, for one, cannot wait to see him back in action against Partick Thistle this weekend. Now, on to something that's, let's say, less exciting. More confusing, even. Simpson Pusy. A name that had a bit of buzz when it popped up on the signing sheet over 6 weeks ago, but since then, radio silence. He's barely been seen, barely mentioned, and when he has been, it's only raised more questions. Of the 7 matches he's been eligible for, he's made the matchday squad just twice. And both of those were European ties where the bench is larger than usual. Not one domestic matchday appearance. Brendan Rodgers was asked about him a couple weeks back and gave the standard line. He's building fitness. We're taking it slow. But the more time passes, the more that feels like a smokescreen. Especially now that the European squad has been confirmed and Simpson Pusy isn't on it. That's telling. If there were serious plans for him to feature, he'd be there. But he's not. And that raises eyebrows. To make things murkier, rumors are doing the rounds that he refused to play for the B team recently. Now, nothing's confirmed, but when you pair that with the lack of game time and the cryptic Instagram post, blacked out profile pic with the quote, "Delays teach patience which prepares you for blessings," it all feels a bit off. It's still early days, and we don't want to write the lad off entirely. But right now, it looks like a bad bit of business. And finally, something a wee bit different for Sunday's match that might actually take some pressure off. There'll be no VAR. That's right, 0 VAR involvement because Partick Thistle, being a championship side, don't have the system installed at Firhill. That means it's old-school football, no replays, no delays, no lines drawn on screen. Just football as it happens. It's a weird throwback, isn't it? You forget how used to VAR we've become until it's suddenly not there. Last time we played a competitive match without it was way back in October 2022, a 6-1 win over Hibs. And while VAR was meant to fix the chaos, let's be honest, it's brought plenty of its own drama. So in a strange way, it might be nice to go back to basics for one game. Celebrate goals properly. No waiting around for someone in a truck to decide if a toe was offside. Once the dust settles at Firhill on Sunday, attention will shift quickly to what's coming next, and it's a big one. Our Europa League campaign kicks off next Wednesday in Belgrade against Red Star, or Crvena Zvezda, if you want the proper name. And look, I know the Europa League wasn't where we wanted to be. Champions League nights under the lights at Celtic Park, that's the dream. That's the level we want to be at. But that ship sailed for now, and there's no point crying about it. What we've got is a European group that gives us a real chance to compete, progress, and maybe even go on a run if we can sort ourselves out. And make no mistake, this isn't going to be easy. Red Star are flying at the moment. They've absolutely steamrolled their last 2 league games, 7 goals in one, 5 in the other. And these weren't bottom-of-the-table sides either. These were 4th and 5th in the Serbian league. So they've clearly found their rhythm going forward. They're scoring for fun, they've got pace, power, and plenty of confidence. You only need to look at their league form to see that. They're averaging close to 5 goals a game. That kind of output isn't normal, even in a less competitive league. But here's where things get complicated. Just yesterday, the club was hit with a tragedy. Their former captain and midfielder, Dejan Milovanovic, passed away at the age of 41. Collapsed during a Veterans League match. Gone just like that. And it's shaken the club. Milovanovic wasn't just any player. He played over 300 matches for Red Star, scored 40 goals, had 2 separate spells at the club, wore the armband, led them on big European nights. He was Red Star. His passing isn't just sad news. It's a deep emotional moment for everyone involved with the club. The Eternal Derby is this weekend, Red Star versus Partizan, one of the most heated, passionate derbies in all of football. And now it's happening under the shadow of this tragedy. Assuming the match goes ahead, and all signs suggest it will. It'll be a charged atmosphere. Then, after that, our match becomes the first European home game for Red Star following the news. So when we head to Belgrade, we're not just walking into a loud ground with a team in form. We're walking into an emotionally supercharged stadium. That can go one of two ways. It could inspire them, or it could overwhelm them. Either way, it's something our players and our staff need to be ready for. And we need to be honest with ourselves. If we play like we did last weekend, or like we've seen too often in recent European away days, we're going to be in trouble. Red Star might have gone out of the Champions League in embarrassing fashion to Pathos, but don't let that fool you. They'll be up for this. Their squad's got quality, their fans are going to be feral, and the memory of their captain will be hanging over the whole evening. It's not the kind of European away night where you can ease yourself into it. We'll need to be switched on from the first whistle. So what kind of Celtic are we going to see? That's the question. Are we going to see the same cautious, tentative approach that's let us down in Europe before? Or are we finally going to see the kind of aggressive, front-foot Celtic that plays with confidence and identity? Because let's be clear, that's the only way we get anything from this group stage. There's no time to grow into this competition. It starts with a bang, away from home, and it'll set the tone for the rest of the campaign. One thing that could make a difference is who we have fit and firing. We know the squad's still not where it should be. Injuries have hurt us. Recruitment hasn't exactly been thrilling. But if Teneecti can build on what he showed last weekend, and if we can get a bit more out of guys like O'Reilly and Hatate in the middle, we might just have the kind of spark that can unsettle a team like Red Star. Especially if they leave gaps, which they might, considering how attacking they've been lately. And you get the feeling that these European nights could be made for someone like Teneecti. You give him space to run into on a big European pitch, with the crowd roaring and everything to play for. That's the kind of scenario that could make him a star. Of course, he'll need support. He can't do it alone. But you can already feel a shift. Supporters are starting to get that little bit of excitement back, and he's a big part of that. Elsewhere, the fan base continues to stir. That unease about how the club's being run isn't going away. In fact, it feels like it's building. The silence from the board is deafening. And if this financial report confirms that there's tens of millions sitting untouched, you're going to hear even more noise. Because the fans are demanding more. They're tired of being treated like customers and talked down to. They want to see action, ambition, and a club that's willing to push boundaries again, not just collect cash and play it safe. And that dissatisfaction doesn't stop with Europe. It's about domestic dominance too. We've got a League Cup to fight for on Sunday, a title race that's going to get tighter, and the Scottish Cup still to come. Every competition matters. Every game is a chance to show that we're not just surviving, we're building something again. But to do that, everyone needs to be pulling in the same direction. The manager, the players, the board, the fans. And right now, it doesn't feel like we're all on the same page. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling through Glasgow tonight, with Parkhead abuzz at the suggestion that Sergio Ramos, the legendary Spanish defender, has been quietly tied down by Celtic in what insiders are calling a lightning contract. No official confirmation has yet slipped from the club, but word around the East End is that the former Real Madrid and Spain captain has agreed to don the green and white hoops, instantly becoming the new sheriff of the backline. The rumor has been fueled by late-night chatter from those close to the deal, who insist negotiations moved at breakneck pace, leaving even the most seasoned transfer watchers stunned. Ramos, 39, has long been seen as a colossus of European football, a warrior famed for his uncompromising tackles, aerial dominance, and knack for turning up with crucial goals when the stakes are highest. That such a name could now be penciled into Celtic's squad list feels almost unreal, yet the murmurs refuse to die down. Supporters, naturally, are caught between disbelief and euphoria. Social media has been flooded with mock-ups of Ramos in a Celtic strip, with captions hailing him as the new king of paradise. Pubs along London Road were said to be roaring with excitement as the story filtered through, punters debating whether this is the boldest coup in the club's modern history or merely a mirage whipped up by mischievous agents. Still, there is logic behind the speculation. Celtic, locked in a relentless title race and desperate to make a deeper mark in Europe, have often been accused of lacking a commanding presence in defense. Ramos, even in the twilight of his career, would bring an aura of authority, leadership, and sheer intimidation that few in Scottish football could hope to match. Whether this flash signing proves to be reality or simply another late summer fairy tale, one thing is certain: the rumor has set the city alight. For now, all eyes are fixed on Celtic Park's doors, waiting to see if the sheriff truly rides in. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.